You need to respect yourself first before you can demand respect from others. That's where your journey begins in 2025. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how you see yourself. It's about knowing your worth and understanding that your peace, your happiness, and your time are invaluable. When you respect yourself, you set boundaries. You don't let anyone treat you less than you deserve. If people around you can't see your worth, it's time to walk away. If the environment doesn't nurture your growth, walk away. If the relationship doesn't bring out the best in you, it's time to walk away. But it's not just about walking away physically. It's about walking away emotionally and mentally. Sometimes we hold on to situations, relationships, and jobs we change. But I'm here to tell you, nothing grows in a toxic environment. When you respect yourself, you give yourself permission to leave behind what's not serving you. You leave behind the negativity, the self-doubt, the fear of being alone, and step into the life that's waiting for you. Self-respect is the cornerstone of living a fulfilling and empowered life. It is the foundation upon which every action, every decision, and every relationship should be built. Without self-respect, it becomes nearly impossible to expect respect from others. It is the internal acknowledgement of your own value and worth, irrespective of external validation. Understanding this simple yet profound truth can transform how you approach life, others, and most importantly, yourself. To respect yourself means to recognize and honor your unique qualities, strengths, and abilities. It's about knowing your worth and not letting anyone or anything diminish it. In a world that often pressures individuals to conform, to seek approval, or to measure up to external standards, the ability to stay true to yourself is both a challenge and a gift. It means standing firm in your beliefs, maintaining your values, and setting boundaries that protect your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. When you have self-respect, you no longer seek validation from external sources because you've already validated yourself. When self-respect is deeply ingrained, it allows you to make decisions that align with your true desires and needs rather than succumbing to the pressure of what others expect from you. The way you treat yourself is often reflected in the way others treat you. People tend to follow the example set by how you value yourself. If you respect yourself, others are more likely to respect you. On the other hand, if you allow others to undermine your worth or treat you poorly, it sends the message that you are not deserving of better treatment. Self-respect also involves being honest with yourself. It means confronting your flaws, acknowledging your mistakes, and striving to improve without beating yourself up. It's about giving yourself grace and understanding that you, like everyone else, are on a journey. You are allowed to make mistakes and grow from them. However, self-respect also means not allowing yourself to stay stuck in unhealthy patterns or situations that diminish your well-being. It requires making tough decisions, even when they may be uncomfortable, because you understand that your happiness and mental peace are non-negotiable. In relationships, self-respect acts as a powerful filter. It helps you distinguish between healthy connections and those that drain or damage you. When you respect yourself, you set high standards for how you expect to be treated. You recognize that you don't have to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Whether in friendships, romantic relationships, or professional environments, self-respect acts as a shield. It enables you to walk away from toxic relationships, unhealthy dynamics, or situations where you are not being treated with the respect and care you deserve. Equally important is understanding that self-respect isn't a one-time event, it's a continual process. It requires constant nurturing and self-awareness. You must actively remind yourself of your worth, especially during times of doubt or adversity. There will be moments when you feel like giving in, when the opinions of others might make you question your value, but it's precisely in those moments that you need to reaffirm your self-respect. Self-respect doesn't fluctuate with external circumstances. It remains steady, grounded in your inner conviction. Another aspect of self-respect is not allowing others to define your worth. Society, family, and friends can sometimes impose expectations that don't align with your authentic self. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking approval from others, but this only weakens your sense of self-respect. The key to lasting happiness is realizing that your value is inherent. It doesn't need to be proven, earned, or validated by others. When you truly respect yourself, you stop measuring your worth based on the opinions or judgments of others, and you start measuring it based on how you feel about yourself. Respecting yourself also means taking care of your body, mind, and spirit. Physical self-care is a vital component of self-respect. How you treat your body reflects how you feel about yourself. If you neglect your health, overwork yourself, or allow yourself to be surrounded by negativity, it sends the message that you don't deserve better. Respecting your body means taking care of it by nourishing it with healthy food, getting enough rest, staying active, and avoiding harmful habits. Similarly, respecting your mind means engaging in activities that stimulate growth, seeking out positivity, and protecting your mental health. Self-respect is not about arrogance or superiority. It is not about believing that you are better than others. It's about recognizing that you are just as deserving of love, kindness, and happiness as anyone else. It's about treating yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would show to a loved one. By respecting yourself, you set the stage for a more peaceful, fulfilling life. When you respect yourself, you invite others to do the same. You no longer tolerate mistreatment or negativity, and instead, you cultivate an environment that supports your growth and well-being. This deep-rooted self-respect can serve as a beacon for those around you, inspiring them to respect themselves too. Respecting yourself is the first and most important step in creating a life that reflects your true worth. It is not something that can be given to you by others. It is something that you must give to yourself. When you respect yourself, you acknowledge your potential, embrace your uniqueness, and live authentically. This is the power of self-respect, and it is the foundation for all that you will achieve in 2025 and beyond. Setting boundaries is one of the most important and empowering actions you can take to ensure a healthy, balanced, and fulfilling life. It's not always easy to establish boundaries, especially if you've been conditioned to please others or avoid conflict. But the ability to set clear boundaries is a direct reflection of how much you respect yourself and understand your own needs. It's about knowing where you end and others begin. When you respect yourself, you begin to realize that your time, energy, emotions, and even your physical space are valuable, and they deserve to be protected. The first step in setting boundaries is understanding what they are and why they are necessary. Boundaries are limits that you set in relationships, work, and in every area of your life to ensure that your well-being is prioritized. They help to define what is acceptable behavior and what is not. They ensure that you do not overextend yourself, burn out, or allow others to take advantage of you. Without boundaries, you risk losing your sense of self, becoming overwhelmed, and enabling toxic relationships or environments to persist. One of the key elements of setting boundaries is recognizing your own needs. It's about taking the time to reflect on what you require to feel safe, respected, and cared for. For example, in your personal relationships, you might need space to recharge, or you might need others to be respectful of your time. In your professional life, you might need boundaries around the hours you work or the tasks you're willing to take on. Knowing your needs allows you to establish boundaries that support your well-being, both physically and mentally. Without these boundaries, you're at risk of sacrificing your peace and happiness for the sake of others. Setting boundaries also involves communication. Once you've identified what your boundaries are, it's important to communicate them clearly and assertively to others. This is where many people struggle, especially those who have a history of avoiding conflict or people-pleasing behavior. When you communicate your boundaries, it's important to be firm but respectful. You don't need to apologize for needing space, time, or respect. Your needs are valid, and communicating them is a sign of self-respect, not selfishness. For example, if a friend regularly calls you late at night when you need rest, you can kindly but firmly tell them, "I need to get up early for work, so I'm not available for calls after 9 p.m. In the workplace, if you are constantly being asked to take on extra tasks that don't align with your responsibilities, it's important to express your limits and say no when necessary. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they are also about knowing when to say yes in a way that supports your well-being. For instance, you might feel pressure to attend every social event or meeting, even when you know that it will leave you exhausted or stressed. By setting boundaries, you recognize that you don't have to accept every invitation or request. You can politely decline when it's in your best interest without feeling guilty or worrying about letting others down. This takes practice, especially in a society that often rewards overworking, overcommitting, and saying yes to everything. But when you set boundaries, you are teaching others how to treat you and respecting your own time and energy. In addition to protecting your time and energy, boundaries are essential for maintaining emotional well-being. If you allow others to constantly drain you emotionally, whether through negativity, manipulation, or criticism, you'll quickly find yourself overwhelmed and depleted. Emotional boundaries protect your mental health and preserve your energy for the things that truly matter. For example, if someone in your life is constantly bringing you down or engaging in toxic behavior, it's necessary to set an emotional boundary. You can choose to distance yourself from them or limit your interactions, recognizing that your emotional health is more important than maintaining a relationship that causes harm. Sometimes setting boundaries also means walking away from situations or people that are not in alignment with your values or goals. This is a tough but crucial part of boundary setting. Walking away isn't about abandoning others, it's about protecting yourself from environments or relationships that are draining or unhealthy. This might involve distancing yourself from friendships that are one-sided or relationships that undermine your self-esteem. It might mean leaving a job that doesn't respect your boundaries or doesn't align with your aspirations. Walking away is an act of self-respect. It's about choosing your peace, growth, and happiness over staying in situations that hold you back. In romantic relationships, boundaries are just as important. Healthy boundaries in a relationship allow both partners to retain their individuality while still being supportive of each other. This means setting limits on what behaviors are acceptable and ensuring that both partners respect each other's needs. For instance, if your partner frequently invades your privacy or disregards your personal space, it's essential to communicate that this is not acceptable. Respecting each other's boundaries creates a foundation of trust, respect, and mutual understanding, which strengthens the relationship over time. Even in the digital age, boundaries are essential. With constant connectivity through social media, emails, and messaging apps, it's easy to feel like you are always available to others. However, it's important to set boundaries around your digital life as well. You don't need to respond to every message immediately, and you don't have to share every detail of your life online. Setting boundaries with technology helps you maintain focus, avoid burnout, and protect your privacy. Setting boundaries is not always easy, especially when you fear that others might be upset with you or when you worry about disappointing people. But the reality is that when you respect yourself and set boundaries, you are doing both yourself and others a favor. Boundaries are an act of self-love and self-care. They allow you to show up as your best self in relationships, in your work, and in every aspect of your life. Boundaries keep you grounded and ensure that your needs are met while respecting the needs of others. In the end, setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about ensuring that you can show up for others without losing yourself in the process. When we talk about emotional and mental freedom, we are referring to the liberation that comes from breaking free of the emotional weight and mental burdens that often hold us back in life. It's about the ability to detach yourself from toxic situations, harmful relationships, and negative environments that hinder your growth. This emotional and mental freedom allows you to reclaim your power, restore your peace of mind, and refocus on what truly matters in your life. It's the understanding that your well-being is non-negotiable and you are fully capable of walking away from anything or anyone that no longer serves your higher purpose. Emotional and mental freedom begins with understanding that you are not obligated to carry the weight of others' emotions or the baggage of the past. Many people get entangled in the emotional chaos of those around them. Whether it's family drama, toxic friendships, the emotional instability of romantic relationships, these situations can take a toll on your mental and emotional health. You may feel responsible for fixing problems that aren't yours to solve, or you may constantly carry guilt or resentment from unresolved issues. This emotional burden is not yours to bear, and to reclaim your mental freedom, you need to learn how to detach from these situations in a healthy, compassionate way. One key aspect of emotional and mental freedom is recognizing that you are in control of your emotions. No one else has the power to make you feel anything without your consent. While it's true that people can influence how you feel, it's up to you to decide how you react. When you become aware of this, you gain the ability to maintain your inner peace regardless of external circumstances. For example, if someone criticizes you or tries to manipulate you, you have the choice to accept or reject the receive. You don't have to internalize negativity, blame, or guilt. By choosing not to react impulsively or emotionally, you maintain control over your state of mind. When you allow others to control your emotions or manipulate your feelings, you surrender your power to them. This is why emotional freedom is so important. It's about reclaiming your right to feel at peace, regardless of what's happening around you. If someone mistreats you, instead of getting caught up in anger, frustration, or resentment, you can choose to step back and assess the situation objectively. You can decide not to engage in drama or conflict, protecting your mental and emotional space. This practice takes time, but the more you practice emotional detachment, the easier it becomes to maintain your sense of peace. Mental freedom is equally important in the pursuit of overall well-being. Many people allow negative thoughts, self-doubt, and fear to dominate their mental space. This constant barrage of negativity can prevent you from seeing clearly, from making decisions that align with your true desires, and from moving forward in life. Mental freedom is the ability to silence the inner critic, to stop believing the limiting beliefs that tell you you're not good enough or capable enough to achieve your goals. It's about training your mind to focus on solutions, not problems, and to cultivate a mindset that supports your growth and success. One of the first steps in achieving mental freedom is challenging the negative thoughts and beliefs that may have been ingrained in you over time. These limiting beliefs often stem from past experiences, societal conditioning, or the opinions of others. However, the more you challenge these thoughts and replace them with empowering beliefs, the more your mind becomes liberated. It's about reframing the way you see the world and yourself. For instance, instead of thinking, I'm not smart enough to succeed, you might choose to think, I am capable of learning and growing, and I have the power to succeed if I put in the effort. This shift in mindset is incredibly freeing. It takes away the chains of self-doubt and opens up new possibilities for growth. Mental freedom also means letting go of the need to control everything. Many people find themselves trapped in the illusion of control, trying to predict every outcome and micromanage every aspect of their lives. This constant need to control can lead to stress, anxiety, and a lack of peace. Mental freedom comes from accepting that not everything is within your control, and that's okay. Life is unpredictable, and the more you can embrace uncertainty, the more you can free your mind from worry. Instead of focusing on things that are out of your hands, you can focus on what you can control: your actions, your responses, and your mindset. The process of emotional and mental freedom is deeply tied to the concept of letting go. Letting go of the past, letting go of expectations, and letting go of unhealthy attachments. Often we hold on to past experiences, people, or situations out of fear or attachment. We become so attached to the idea of how things should be that we lose sight of how things actually are. Letting go means releasing any emotional hold that the past has on you and embracing the present moment with clarity and peace. It's about forgiving yourself for past mistakes, forgiving others for wrongdoings, and moving forward without the weight of grudges or unresolved issues. And letting go also applies to your future expectations. When you expect everything to go perfectly or according to a specific plan, you set yourself up for disappointment. Life is full of surprises, and the ability to let go of rigid expectations allows you to remain open to the unexpected. You learn to embrace the flow of life, to trust that things will unfold as they are meant to, and that you have the resilience to handle whatever comes your way. This journey toward emotional and mental freedom is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. Every day, you have the choice to protect your mental and emotional space, to practice detachment, to challenge limiting beliefs, and to let go of what no longer serves you. As you practice this freedom, you begin to realize that you are the architect of your own peace and happiness. You no longer allow others or external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. You have the power to choose your responses, to stay grounded in your truth, and to walk away from anything or anyone that threatens your mental and emotional freedom. Letting go of toxic relationships is an essential aspect of respecting yourself and walking away from situations that hinder your growth. We all know that relationships, whether personal, romantic, or professional, can shape the course of our lives. Some relationships build us up while others drain us. Recognizing when a relationship has turned toxic is a powerful step in reclaiming your sense of self-worth and emotional balance. Toxic relationships are often marked by manipulation, disrespect, emotional abuse, and the repeated disregard for your boundaries and needs. Choosing to walk away from these situations is not only a sign of self-respect, but it is also a critical act of self-care. One of the first signs that a relationship has become toxic is when you begin to feel consistently drained or emotionally depleted after spending time with that person. Instead of feeling supported, loved, or energized, you are left feeling anxious, sad, or even confused. This emotional toll can gradually erode your sense of self and your confidence. In toxic relationships, your emotions are often manipulated, and you may find yourself walking on eggshells, constantly trying to appease or please the other person. Over time, this can lead to a loss of personal identity as you prioritize the needs of the other person above your own well-being. Another sign of a toxic relationship is when the dynamic becomes one-sided. Relationships are meant to be reciprocal, where both parties contribute equally to the connection, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically. However, in toxic relationships, one person often takes without giving back. This imbalance can manifest in various ways. Perhaps one person dominates conversations, makes all the decisions, or consistently demands attention and resources without consideration for the other person's needs. The person on the receiving end of this imbalance may feel constantly undervalued or unappreciated, which can have a long-lasting effect on their self-esteem and mental health. Manipulation is another hallmark of toxic relationships. This may take the form of guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or emotional blackmail. In these relationships, the manipulator uses subtle tactics to control or influence the other person's actions, feelings, or decisions. You may feel as though you are always to blame for the problems in the relationship, even when the issues are not your fault. You may be made to feel guilty for setting boundaries or for wanting time for yourself. Over time, this manipulation can wear you down, leaving you feeling powerless or unsure of yourself. Recognizing these manipulative behaviors and choosing to walk away is an empowering step toward reclaiming your mental and emotional well-being. In many toxic relationships, respect is either lacking or consistently violated. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, where each person values the other's opinions, feelings, and needs. However, in toxic relationships, disrespect becomes the norm. This can look like belittling, insulting, or ignoring the other person's feelings. It might involve dismissing their achievements or invalidating their emotions. In these relationships, the person who is disrespected often feels invisible or worthless, as their needs and feelings are consistently overlooked. When respect is absent, the relationship becomes a breeding ground for resentment, and it becomes nearly impossible to grow and flourish within it. Walking away from a relationship that lacks respect is a profound way of showing yourself that you deserve to be treated with kindness, dignity, and care. Toxic relationships also thrive on patterns of emotional or physical abuse. Emotional abuse can be subtle, such as constant criticism, shaming, or demeaning remarks. Physical abuse, on the other hand, is more overt and includes any form of physical harm. Both types of abuse can leave lasting scars, and they often create a cycle of fear, shame, and self-doubt in the victim. If you find yourself in a relationship where abuse, whether emotional or physical, occurs, it is crucial to acknowledge that you do not deserve to be mistreated. No one has the right to control or harm you in any way, and walking away from such relationships is a powerful act of reclaiming your safety, peace of mind, and self-worth. Sometimes toxic relationships are not just with other people, they can also be the result of unhealthy dynamics that we allow to persist in our lives. This might be a relationship with a job that is exploitative, draining, or misaligned with your values. In some cases, a toxic relationship may be the result of an unhealthy attachment to material possessions or habits that no longer serve you. These types of toxic dynamics can weigh heavily on your emotional and mental well-being. Letting go of these attachments may require difficult decisions, but it is essential for your long-term happiness and fulfillment. In doing so, you create space for healthier, more positive relationships and experiences to enter your life. Letting go of toxic relationships is not always easy. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to prioritize your own happiness and well-being. Often people stay in toxic relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of confrontation, or fear of change. However, it's important to remember that staying in a toxic relationship only prolongs the suffering and keeps you from the life you deserve. Walking away is not about abandoning someone else, it's about preserving your own emotional health and reclaiming your power. It's a recognition that you cannot grow and thrive in an environment that consistently drains or hurts you. By walking away, you send a clear message to yourself and to others that your worth is non-negotiable and that you are deserving of love, respect, and happiness. It's also crucial to understand that walking away from toxic relationships does not make you weak or selfish, it makes you strong or wise. It takes immense strength to acknowledge when a relationship is no longer serving you and to take the necessary steps to remove yourself from it. This act is one of self-respect and self-love. When you walk away from toxicity, you make room for healthier, more fulfilling relationships to come into your life, relationships that are based on mutual respect, understanding, and support. Letting go of toxic relationships is an essential part of walking away in 2020. It's about protecting your emotional health, finding peace, and opening yourself up to new opportunities for growth and happiness. Setting boundaries is a vital step in respecting yourself and walking away from situations that hinder your well-being. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define what is acceptable behavior in your life, and they help protect your emotional, mental, and physical health. The act of setting boundaries is about understanding your worth and the limits of what you are willing to accept in your relationships and experiences. In a world where demands on your time and energy are constant, being able to establish and enforce healthy boundaries is essential for maintaining your sense of self and ensuring that you are not overwhelmed or taken advantage of. One of the most important aspects of setting boundaries is recognizing that they are not a form of selfishness, but rather a form of self-respect. Many people struggle with the idea of setting boundaries because they fear being perceived as rude, selfish, or unkind. This fear often stems from a deep-seated desire to be liked or to avoid conflict. However, the reality is that boundaries are a necessary part of self-care and self-respect. Without boundaries, you risk becoming overwhelmed by the demands of others and sacrificing your own needs in the process. In order to respect yourself and preserve your mental and emotional health, you must be able to say no when necessary and protect your personal space. Setting boundaries also involves being clear about your values, priorities, and what matters most to you. It requires an understanding of your own needs and a willingness to advocate for yourself. Often, we accept situations, behaviors, or relationships that do not align with our values because we are afraid of confrontation or rejection. However, allowing this misalignment to continue erodes your sense of self-worth over time. When you set boundaries, you are consciously choosing to align your actions and decisions with your core beliefs and values. This is a powerful act of self-empowerment that enables you to live a life that is authentic and true to who you are. Boundaries also protect your energy. One of the most significant challenges in today's fast-paced world is the constant pressure to give your time and attention to others, often at the expense of your own well-being. Whether it's at work, in relationships, or within family dynamics, people can easily overstep their bounds, demanding more of your time and energy than you are willing or able to give. By setting clear boundaries, you protect your energy from being depleted by situations or people who drain you. This means learning to recognize when you are stretched too thin and taking the necessary steps to step back and replenish your resources. It means prioritizing yourself and acknowledging that you cannot give from an empty cup. Emotional boundaries are another essential aspect of self-respect. These boundaries define the emotional distance you need from others in order to preserve your emotional well-being. It's about not allowing someone else's emotions, drama, or crisis to hijack your mental state. In emotionally charged situations, it can be easy to become overwhelmed by the emotions of those around you. However, setting emotional boundaries means being able to detach from these external emotions and recognize that you are not responsible for managing or fixing other people's emotional states. It allows you to stay calm and centered without getting swept up in the emotional turbulence of others. This practice not only protects your mental health, but also empowers you to engage in relationships from a place of balance and stability. When it comes to setting boundaries, communication is key. Many people struggle with the idea of setting boundaries because they do not know how to communicate them effectively. It's important to remember that setting a boundary is not about being confrontational or aggressive. Rather, it's about expressing your needs clearly and respectfully. Whether it's telling a friend that you need space, letting a colleague know that you cannot take on additional work, or telling a family member that you will not tolerate disrespect. It is essential to communicate your boundaries with confidence and clarity. If you find it difficult to express yourself verbally, writing down your thoughts beforehand can be a helpful tool to ensure that you are clear about your needs and intentions. Boundaries are also about understanding and respecting the boundaries of others. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect, and this includes respecting the personal boundaries of those around you. Just as you have the right to set boundaries for yourself, others have the right to do the same. It's important to remember that when someone else sets a boundary, it is not a personal rejection of you, but rather an expression of their own needs and limits. By respecting the boundaries of others, you demonstrate empathy and create an environment of trust and respect where everyone feels safe to be themselves. One of the biggest challenges in setting boundaries is dealing with resistance from others. People who are used to you being available or accommodating may resist your new boundaries at first. They may try to push back, guilt trip you, or make you feel bad for asserting yourself. This resistance is natural, as it is often uncomfortable for both parties when the status quo is disrupted. However, it is crucial to stand firm in your boundaries, even in the face of resistance. You must remind yourself that your boundaries are not negotiable and that your well-being must always come first. Over time, as people see that you are committed to respecting yourself and your limits, they will learn to respect your boundaries as well. In some cases, setting boundaries may require you to walk away from relationships or situations altogether. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries or refuses to acknowledge your needs, it may be necessary to distance yourself from them in order to protect your peace of mind. Walking away from toxic relationships or environments that violate your boundaries is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of strength. It shows that you value yourself enough to step away from anything that compromises your health, happiness, or sense of self-worth. Setting boundaries is about protecting your peace and ensuring that you are living a life that is aligned with your values, priorities, and needs. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you not only protect your time, energy, and emotions, but you also send a clear message to others that you are worthy of respect and that your well-being matters. Boundaries are essential for maintaining healthy relationships, staying true to yourself, and living a fulfilling life. They are the foundation upon which you can build a life that is rich with joy, authenticity, and self-respect. Letting go of past mistakes and forgiving yourself is an essential part of respecting yourself and walking away from the emotional baggage that can hold you back from personal growth. We all make mistakes, whether big or small, and often carry the weight of these mistakes with us long after they have occurred. This weight can manifest as guilt, shame, regret, or feelings of inadequacy, and it can hold us in a state of emotional imprisonment, preventing us from moving forward and embracing the future with confidence. Forgiving yourself and releasing the burden of past mistakes is a transformative act of self-compassion that opens the door to healing, growth, and a more fulfilled life. One of the first steps in letting go of past mistakes is acknowledging them. Often people attempt to suppress their mistakes or deny their existence, thinking that by ignoring them, they will simply disappear. However, this approach only leads to unresolved emotions and a deep sense of unease. Acknowledging your mistakes allows you to face them head on and gain clarity about what happened, why it happened, and what you can learn from the experience. By accepting that mistakes are a natural part of life and part of the human experience, you give yourself permission to be imperfect and to embrace the lessons that come with failure. Many people struggle with self-forgiveness because they believe that their mistakes define who they are. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that one bad decision or failure is a reflection of your entire character. However, your mistakes do not define your worth as a person. You are not your mistakes, and it is important to separate your actions from your identity. When you identify with your mistakes, you are more likely to carry the shame and guilt associated with them, allowing those emotions to shape how you view yourself. Instead, recognize that you are a person who made a mistake, but that mistake does not define you. You have the power to learn from it, grow from it, and become a stronger, wiser version of yourself. A key component of self-forgiveness is understanding that everyone makes mistakes and no one is exempt from the occasional misstep or poor judgment. Perfection is an unrealistic expectation, and expecting yourself to be flawless only sets you up for disappointment and self-criticism. In fact, mistakes often the most valuable lesson opportunities for growth is. They teach you resilience, patience, and self-awareness. Without mistakes, there would be no room for improvement or personal evolution. Embracing your mistakes as stepping stones to personal development helps you reframe them in a more constructive light, rather than viewing them as burdens to carry forever. Another crucial aspect of forgiving yourself is letting go of guilt. Guilt is a powerful emotion that can keep you tethered to the past, preventing you from fully experiencing the present or moving forward in your life. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of self-blame, ruminating on what could have been done differently. However, it's important to remember that once a mistake has been made, it is in the past, and there is nothing you can do to change it. Holding on to guilt only serves to punish you, and it does nothing to rectify the situation or bring about positive change. By letting go of guilt, you free yourself from the emotional prison that it creates, allowing you to release the past and embrace the future with an open heart and mind. Self-forgiveness also involves learning to treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer to a friend. If a close friend made a mistake, you would likely offer them understanding, encouragement, and support, reminding them that everyone makes mistakes and that they are worthy of love and forgiveness. Yet when it comes to ourselves, we often hold ourselves to an unrealistic standard of perfection, treating ourselves with harsh judgment and criticism. To forgive yourself, it's essential to practice self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself and recognize that you are doing the best you can with the knowledge and resources you have at the time. Just as you would comfort a friend in their time of need, offer yourself that same level of comfort and understanding. Letting go of past mistakes also means accepting responsibility for your actions while simultaneously releasing the burden of guilt. Taking responsibility is an important part of personal growth, as it shows that you are aware of the impact of your choices and are willing to learn from them. However, accepting responsibility does not mean punishing yourself or carrying the emotional weight of the mistake indefinitely. It means acknowledging what went wrong, understanding how it affects others, and committing to making better choices in the future. Once you have accepted responsibility and learned from the experience, it is time to release the guilt and move forward. One of the most powerful ways to forgive yourself is through the practice of self-reflection and self-growth. When you make a mistake, take the time to reflect on what happened and why it occurred. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation, how you can improve, and what steps you can take to ensure that you don't repeat the same mistake in the future. This process of self-reflection not only helps you gain insight into your behavior and decisions, but also empowers you to take proactive steps toward personal growth. By focusing on improvement and learning from your mistakes, you transform a negative experience into an opportunity for progress. Sometimes letting go of past mistakes also means seeking support from others, such as a therapist, counselor, or a trusted friend. Talking through your feelings of guilt, shame, or regret with someone who understands and supports you can be incredibly cathartic. It helps you process the emotions associated with the mistake and gain perspective on how to move forward. Additionally, having a support system in place reminds you that you are not alone in your struggles and that it's okay to ask for help when you need it. External support can offer validation and encouragement, reinforcing the importance of self-forgiveness. The process of forgiving yourself is not a one-time event, it is an ongoing practice. There may be moments when the weight of past mistakes resurfaces, and that is perfectly normal. However, with time, patience, and self-compassion, you can continue to release the past and embrace a future of growth, opportunity, and self-empowerment. Letting go of past mistakes is about acknowledging that you are human, that you are capable of change, and that you deserve to live a life free from the burden of guilt and regret. By forgiving yourself, you open the door to healing, personal growth, and the ability to walk confidently into the future with a renewed sense of self-respect and self-love. Forgiving yourself and letting go of past mistakes is a powerful act of self-respect and growth. It allows you to release guilt, learn from your experiences, and move forward with confidence. By embracing your imperfections and treating yourself with compassion, you open the door to healing and personal empowerment, creating space for a brighter future.